Hey friends, it's time for part 2 in our 4-part series. Last time we talked about what boundaries are and why they're important. This time we're going to get more practical and look at a few key boundaries to set for recovery and healthy family life. So if this interests you, stick around. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer. I'm a mother of 4 in recovery from alcohol addiction. I'm not an expert, but I've learned some things along the way and I'm sharing them here. Maybe something that's been helpful for me will be helpful for you too. So a reminder, boundaries aren't about control or perfection. They're about making space for healing. Today I'll give you 5 recovery boundaries and 5 parenting boundaries. I'm kind of talking about recovery and parenting separately in this video, but obviously they'll go hand in hand for those of us who have kids. How they go hand to hand will vary from person to person. Whether you're married or single, a step parent, sharing custody, foster parent, or you have supervised visits with your kids. So hopefully you'll find something here that suits you. Boundaries in recovery protect something that can be quite fragile. Often people talk about protecting your peace, your space, your safety, protecting your calm, charging your batteries, filling your cup. Especially in the early days when recovery is so new, I think of it as like holding a new small flame. It needs air to get to it to survive, but too much air, wind or whatever, will put it out. So cherishing this little flame is about the flame and it's about me. It's not about what other people are doing right or wrong. It's about what I need to do to protect this flame. So there are lots and lots of boundaries we can set, but here are 5 important ones. So number 1, substance and environment. So that's going to be all about what you're comfortable with. An example is, please don't bring alcohol into my home. That might not be something you even need, but that's an example. And it's all just about keeping myself and my recovery safe. I'm quite fortunate and privileged that my husband quit drinking before I did, but I also don't meet up with my friends if they're meeting at a pub or, at a pub fundraiser for now. And I leave get-togethers early with no explanation needed. I just need to go. Number 2, financial boundaries. So this again is very case dependent and it's important to understand your own comfort levels. But an example of that is not loaning money to a friend who may be in active addiction. Again, maybe you're fine with it. It's kind of something that you learn along the way. Another financial boundary could be what businesses, corporations, people we support financially. Our money is one of our loudest voices. The third one, time and communication. So an example again, if we're talking about having a friend who's in active addiction, a boundary there would be how much time or contact we are able to have without putting our own recovery at risk. But the important thing to remember is if someone contacts you while they're using, it's okay not to engage until they're sober. It can trigger guilt, especially if you feel an obligation to that person, or maybe they were around for you when the tables were turned. But if it puts my recovery at risk, it's ultimately not going to help anyone, including that person. Yeah, and also we're allowed to decide when we're available. If my boundary is that I don't answer my phone after 8 p.m., that's for me. That's not against other people. Okay, number 4, energy and emotional space. When we enter recovery and feel our own crisis beginning to subside, we may feel a temptation to rescue other people who are currently in their crisis. Our sense of compassion becomes so strong, and it can feel counterintuitive to set boundaries with others. But when we try to rescue others from addiction or crisis, the result is often the opposite of what we want. I'm sure a lot of us can remember the kind of hours we kept in addiction, the sense of urgency about absolutely everything. Everything starts to feel like an emergency. And we can be dragged back into it and completely depleted of our energy and time with our family, rebuilding relationships. So that one again is specifically about friends who are in their addiction, but across the board, it's okay to say, I care about you, but I can't solve this for you. Or I don't have the bandwidth right now. I don't have the time in my schedule right now. I need to preserve my family time, things like that. And the fifth one is self-care. Everything can have an objective boundary, scheduling in rest, limiting screen time to certain times of day or length of time, keeping recovery time non-negotiable, making meetings non-negotiable, writing down schedule and responsibilities, and then holding ourselves accountable. Self-care inner limits will refill our tank. So yeah, this leads us into internal boundaries, which are the ones that we set with ourselves. I will pause before saying yes to something. I won't check my phone during meetings. Treat myself with the same kindness I give others. This is the work, the goals, the routines, the self-care, therapy, anything like that. Mooring lines, the things that keep us connected to our sobriety. I hope that made sense. I hope I didn't get too specific there. But 5 types of boundaries to set: substance and environment, financial, energy and emotional space, time and communication, and self-care / internal boundaries. So anytime you start talking about parenting online, it's kind of a minefield. As parents, especially as moms, we often give until there's nothing left. Boundaries will protect both ourselves and our kids. The evidence does show that consistent, clear boundaries, together with warmth, make for healthier kids. So here are 5 key parenting boundaries. There are probably bajillions more if you look on the internet. Number 1, respect and tone. For example, we can be angry. We don't call each other names. We say please and thank you. We let each other finish when we're speaking. We take turns. All these things are communicated as, this is how this house runs. We respect each other's space and things, that kind of thing. The second one, routines. Routines are a lifesaver. They seem to be so hard to implement and get going. Once they catch their momentum, oh, it's a beautiful thing. Anything that's part of day in and day out, the more predictable we can make it, the lower the general anxiety will be in the household. Safety rules, that can be around who's home alone, who's home with other people. It doesn't matter how much another parent or the child thinks something is okay or what's okay in someone else's home. In my home, these are the rules. An interesting and tricky one, parental self-care. Modeling self-care is the easiest way to teach self-care. Protecting our downtime and taking care of our hygiene and our sleep routine is going to set an invaluable example for the kids. They'll learn how to respect themselves that way by watching us, and they'll also learn to respect us because they know if they need us to fly to the moon and back, we're going to do it. But we're a whole person as well. And we were here before they were. I have the same parental self-care boundaries in place that I had when my kids were babies and toddlers, and they can be modified now that my kids are older and more independent. It's a matter of me being consistent and clear, communicative about it. And the last one, I was trying to think of how to title this one, but expectations. So as with routines, there is security in understanding and knowing what our expectations are of our kids as far as school or chores or friends, how they treat other adults, how they treat strangers, those kind of things. One that my kids know well in this home is the do your best, forget the rest. I mean, forgetting the rest is hard, but our expectation is that you do your best in school or in whatever else that you're doing that requires effort. And then we visit it after if they feel that they didn't do well. So that one's a little bit subjective because they'll be self-reporting whether or not they've met that boundary. But to recap, the 5 parenting ones are respect and tone, routines, safety rules, parental self-care, and then expectations. I hope those made sense and are helpful. I'd love to hear what boundaries you practice on the regular and find helpful in your recovery and or your parenting and or other parts of your life. So just a reminder that boundaries aren't about keeping other people out. They're about protecting either whatever you want to call it, our peace, our calm, our little flame. Yeah, this week maybe pick one that you know needs strengthening in your own life. No calls after 9 p.m. or I'm going to pause and have a cup of tea before I start answering text messages. Don't need to announce it. Just start practicing it. And next week, we'll talk about how to communicate boundaries clearly. And then the following week, we'll talk about what to do when they're ignored. So I hope you'll continue to come back for that. Have a great day. Have a wonderful week. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.